Hey, MJ traders and investors, it's Rod with Power Group. Welcome back on the Pursuit of Wealth, your home for MJ stocks, crypto assets, and interviews. Also home to the best MJ community on the planet. Today's Thursday, August 24th. Hope you're well. In this video, we're going to be discussing an exciting article here from MJ Moment. GOP Congressman pushes DEA ahead for update on Biden's MJ scheduling review. This is something I've been covering on the channel for a long time now. I think that this is the most likely scenario to knock us out of this multi-year bear market and start a new multi-year bull market. But let me know your thoughts. If you agree with me, disagree with me, I always love hearing from you. Before we get to this and more, make sure to smash the like, help support me in the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. If you're new, you can subscribe, tick the bell, all that good stuff. You'll be notified on any future live streams or whenever I do a new video. Also, speaking of supporting the channel, I just launched by popular request. A lot of people asking, we delivered getting POW merch. So launch the store. You can go to the store tab, or you can go to the About and then click on POW merchandise. There's a link there, but you can see all the new swag. And then here's the official POW Group merchandise store. And I just released the new Team Tilray, and there's a ton of other stuff on there, really cool stuff that you can buy. But like I said, that new Team Tilray, I've already sold 5 of these now. I'll be ordering one myself as well. But getting a lot of really great feedback from that. It does help support me in the channel. I really do appreciate it. I love each and every single one of you who have supported me along the way. Definitely wasn't easy. But also, speaking of supporting the channel, you can follow us on @GroupPow, so POW Group on X, formerly Twitter. Going to be using this as my platform of choice going forward. Make sure to give POW Group a follow over there on X. @GroupPow is the handle. So here's the article. MJ Moment reports GOP Congressman pushes DEA ahead for update on Biden's MJ scheduling review. And I've been saying for a while now, we know that the August recess is going on. In a couple of weeks, we could get a potential safe banking vote, but that's not going to solve 280E tax burden, and we've been let down before. I think that could happen. We could get both at the same time. We could get a rescheduling to Schedule 3 is the most likely, maybe 4 or 5, or even descheduling treated like alcohol and tobacco. I don't think that's going to be the most likely scenario. I think Schedule 3, they'll do it in a phased approach. And then Schedule 3 will solve 280E tax burden. That will send this MJ market and sector literally parabolic. We will see hundreds of percentages of gains, in my opinion. Not financial advice. I'll never tell you to buy, sell, or hold, and I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just giving my thoughts and opinions. But safe banking won't solve 280E. If we can get safe banking, great, but I want at least Schedule 3. That'll solve 280E. And then, like I said, these companies are absolutely gonna fly, right? It's going to be more beneficial to the MSOs, but it'll also be beneficial to the whole sector, right? Because the whole sector moves together, and then we could potentially get uplisted into the NYSE and the NASDAQ. And leading into the fall, it's looking really good. We know in October of last year was whenever Biden sent them out to go HHS to go look at the reclassification of MJ. And then, like I said, we're coming up on that 1 year mark in October, and the charts are screaming bullish here into the fall. So I think October and November, there's going to be some massive fireworks. But again, let me know if you agree with me. A GOP congressman is pressing the head of the Drug Enforcement Administration, DEA, to expand on her recent remarks about the origin and timeline of President Joe Biden's MJ scheduling review directive. In a letter sent to the DEA Administrator Ann Milgram on Thursday, which was shared exclusively with MJ Moment, Rep. Matt Gaetz followed up questions he asked the official in person at the House Judiciary Committee hearing last month. Specifically, he's asking for the copy of the letter Milgram said to the president, sent to the Attorney General in the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, HHS, Secretary last year, directing the review into the scheduling status of MJ under the Controlled Substances Act, CSA. At last month's hearing, the administrator also told Gaetz that she would ask HHS about a timeline for the department's review, which needs to be completed before the DA can weigh in. So the congressman is also going to request an update on the discussion in the new letter. While it is reassuring that President Biden has formally requested that the process of descheduling MJ from the list of Schedule 1, treated the same as heroin, come on, give your head a shake. We want change, it's time for change. So in the list of Schedule 1 drugs commenced, it was concerning to hear you say that the Department of Health, so HHS, has not provided a timeline for sending you its descheduling recommendation based on its review, the congressman wrote. I believe it is important for the administration to be transparent with Congress regarding where the process of descheduling MJ stands, he said, adding that he is asking Milgram provide responses to the following by September 15th. Provide a copy of the letter you referenced that Biden sent to Secretary of HHS and the Attorney General asking that the process of descheduling MJ begin. Have you asked HHS for its timeline for getting you its recommendation on descheduling? If so, what was their response? And in that case, have you received a timeline, and can you provide that timeline? Gaetz wrote that DEA's answers to the questions are needed in order for the House Judiciary Committee to continue oversight of this matter. As far as the alleged letter from Biden is concerned, an attorney filed a Freedom of Information, so FOIA request, with HHS for a copy of the letter earlier this month, and the department said it has no records of such document. MJ Moment separately asked asked the Justice Department for clarification, around the letter, but a spokesman referred to the question to the White House. The White House pointed to the president's public statement about the directive, but did not provide comment on the letter the DEA administrator referenced. The question, basically, let me just go through this a little bit quicker here. DOJ and HHS appeared to have coordinated statements prepared on that day that Biden called for the review and issues a mass pardon for people who have committed federal MJ possession offenses. That would suggest that the agencies received some kind of advance notice before the president made the public declaration. As far as the timing of the scheduling review is concerned, HHS Secretary Xavier Becerra did tell MJ Moment in June that agencies are aiming to complete the work by the end of the year. So I did a video on this as well. This is looking really good, folks. The process starts with a scientific review into MJ by HHS and specifically the Food and Drug Administration, FDA, and under HHS. Once this is complete, the department will forward its findings and scheduling recommendation to DEA, which will then conduct its own 8-step review before making a final decision. So this isn't going to be like tomorrow or next week or next month. It's probably we're going to get like some sort of leak about it, and then it's probably going to be into 2024, and we're going to see MJ probably go absolutely parabolic and skyrocket into 2024 and then into 25. I think MJ is going to be the best performing asset industry and asset class over the next couple of years. The recommendation from HHS is not binding, as DEA has primary jurisdiction over the CSA and could theoretically dismiss the agency's position. So that is a big point right there. The recommendation from HHS, I'll repeat, is not binding, as the DEA has primary jurisdiction over the CSA and could theoretically dismiss the health agency's position. So keep that in mind. Meanwhile, that's what would probably happen, right? HHS will come out with a recommendation. Schedule 3 is what I think, and then the media will be like, oh well, the Department of Justice or the DEA, still has to, they have primary jurisdiction, so they have to, don't get too excited, right? We'll see things like skyrocket 100% probably on HHS review of Schedule 3, but then the DEA has to sign off, right? Meanwhile, the White House drug czar said in separate congressional testimony recently that the president's MJ pardons and scheduling directive last year are part of an effort to create a cohesive MJ policy within a patchwork of state legalization models. And we know that game theory is playing out. More and more states, right? Like we have Ohio, Minnesota. There's more and more, potentially Florida on the ballot for 2024. That'll be a huge catalyst as well. One of the most important markets, in my opinion. New York, also very important. But game theory playing out. Once one does it, they all follow, right? It's just a matter of time. It's not if, but when. Congressional MJ Caucus co-chair Rep. Earl Blumenauer led a letter to Becerra and Attorney General Merrick Garland in March, alongside 15 other bipartisan members of Congress, demanding transparency in the MJ scheduling review. So there's the letter. But I didn't think I was going to read that whole thing, but this is important. We need to understand how big this is. And right now, MSOS is dropping to a monthly lower low. US MJ is definitely weaker, and you might be wondering why. That's because Canadian MJ was down like over 90%, and then a lot of US MJ was only down like 70, 80%. So it's just playing catch up. If you take a look at MSOS, the ETF that tracks all the major US producers and the US names, players in the US market. So they're very, very weak, right? And if we take a look at the February 2021 highs on MSOS, we're now down over 91%. So it's just matching the rest of the MJ sector, right? We all move together, right? The sector moves together, not down to the second, the day, the minute, but on a monthly basis and a yearly basis, the charts look the same. And it doesn't matter if you're profitable, unprofitable, LP here in Canada, producer in the US, retailer, ETF, they're all down 80, 90% plus. And then look at Tilray. So Tilray is down from its February 2021 high. It was down over 97%. So a lot of MJ in the US is just getting down to that 90% plus area, right? Like a name like GTII, who's profitable, held up better, right? From the high to the low, down only down 82%, right? Not even 90% yet. So Tilray's looking really good, and this is what we want to see, the leader by volume. This is the Wall Street favorite, and we want to see these recover, right? While MSOS is dropping to a monthly lower low, we're bouncing over 100% on Tilray. So this is what we want to see. We want to see the more beaten down names, and then the leaders in the space and the ones that have the most dollar volume traded and Wall Street puppet and favorite. This is looking really good. MSOS not looking good either here. We could see a bear cross of the MACD there on the weekly time frame. We're nowhere near the 50 weekly moving average, but we got some lack of resistance still about 730. And then we have the 200-day moving average there at 672. But we could see a golden cross with the 50 below the 200-day moving average. That could occur realistically over the next 2 to 3 months, lining up with my timeline into the end of October, November. I think it's going to be massive, and then we're going to see a massive explosion into 2024, in my opinion, and then probably a pretty decent pullback, and then into 2025, I think we'll just continue the bull market, right? Because we've been in a multi-year bear market, and I think multi-year bull market is coming. And we're gonna see generational wealth, right? Pursuit of wealth. People are gonna create enough wealth for their children and their children's children, in my opinion, over the next few years and decade. So if we take a look at Tilray could see a golden cross. This is what we want to see. This could be weeks, not months, on Tilray. But I'll say a couple months just to be conservative. But this is looking really good. Let me know what you think of this news. Do you think we're going to get an announcement at some point soon, right? We have safe banking, August recess concluding here soon as well. So again, what do you think is most likely, safe banking or rescheduling to, Schedule 3 or 4 or 5 beyond descheduling? What do you think is the most likely? I'll take both, but I don't think safe banking is the most likely, and it's not going to solve 280E. Schedule to 3 or higher or descheduling would remove 280E tax burden, and that would send us into a multi-year bull market, in my opinion. But going to end it there, it's Rod with Pal Group. Thanks again for joining us in the pursuit of wealth. Hope you have a fantastic evening. We'll see you again on the next video.